Is it A, 1987, B, 1986, C, 1989, or D, 1990?
I'm gonna have to use my lifeline for this.
That's a good one for the lifeline. Let me know
I have only 1 minute.
that I got 2 right, and I only use 1 lifeline.
Alright, you'll have to time me.
Okay, hold on. Actually. Siri, set a timer for 1 minute.
Okay,
Go.
I set it. Just remember, a watched iPad never boils.
Show off.
Thank you, Siri. 47 seconds on the clock.
Alright.
I guess I shouldn't have picked this one because this is very easily Googleable.
Yep.
30 seconds on the clock.
I'm down.
You calm down. I'm good. You want to go for Chinese food?
That'll kill me.
No.
What were your options?
1987, 1986, 1989, or 1990?
It's C, 1989.
Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer.
Are you 100% sure?
I'm 100% sure.
You don't want to check again?
I don't want to check again.
Are you sure?
I am damn sure.
I'm just waiting for the timer to go. There we go. So your 1 minute is up. And you are right. It was 1989.
We are tied.
Yes.
Unless you want to go for the lightning round.
There's a lightning round?
Well, not just made that up, but we'll want to move on to our next movie.
How about one more question each? No lifelines. Just to, because we can't have a tie.
And it can't be any, and it can be any movie in general, not set this year or set. So this is one for you. Who is the first juror to vote not guilty in 12 Angry Men?
Oh, you.
Is it A, Juror 11, B, Juror 3, C, Juror 8, or D, Juror 2? You still have 1 lifeline left.
No, we said this is we cannot use the lifeline.
Okay, what's your option?
We're just gonna end up tying again. Juror 2.
You sure?
I haven't seen 12 Angry Men in so long.
It's a final answer?
Yes.
Incorrect. The answer is Juror 8.
Okay.
Your question.
What jazz drummer does Tom Cruise discuss with a shop assistant in Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation? Is it A, Max Roach, B, Art Blakey or Blackie, C, Billy Higgins, or D, Shadow Wilson?
I haven't even seen that movie.
You didn't see Mission Impossible? It was really good.
I have to go with A, just ballparking.
Max Roach?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it was Shadow Wilson. So we're still tied.
My bad. Well, on to our next movie then.
Yeah, might as well tie.
Alright, our next movie is The Walk, a Robert Zemeckis film starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt that retells the story of Philippe Petit, who was the man who hung a high wire between the Twin Towers in the 1970s. And that's it. The movie literally is...
Really?
The movie literally is the retelling of this guy who pretty much did probably one of the scariest things you can ever imagine a person willingly doing. I mean, hanging a high wire between the 2 tallest buildings in the world at the time is pretty unbelievable. And the film itself is unbelievable, and I mean that in a good way. Jesse, what?
Another example of a movie that does talking to the camera really well. Because he narrates.
Yes, and I will admit, the talking to the camera, I mean, I think it's worth comparing this to Jersey Boys in a way. Just because I only have 2 real problems with this movie. The first is, well, I think most of the acting is solid. My biggest problem with this movie is that Joseph Gordon-Levitt's accent is a little hokey. I mean, I know he's supposed to be French, but he sounds almost like Pepe Le Pew. French.
That depends.
And
Have you ever met anybody who's like just a few months away from, like a few months from being away from Paris or something like that?
I guess you could say that. But
So,
what was my? And like I said, the narration for this film, I don't think it's awful, but it does feel a little weird.
why?
I don't know, just the fact that this guy is just standing in front of the World Trade Centers on the Statue of Liberty, just retelling his whole story. And usually they would just do that with a voiceover or narration, but you actually see him telling us the story. And I think that is clever, but at the same time it does come off as just, I don't know, kind of silly. What are your thoughts on The Walk?
The Walk is a visual masterpiece with a captivating story and superb acting. It was intense, thrilling, and emotional. I didn't see it in theaters, and I thought, I don't know how I'm going to be able to review this because watching it on a laptop or a TV isn't going to be the same.
Mm-hmm. Because
You really want the big screen, so that way all the escaping shots of, him on the wire. But I did half of it on my TV and half of it on my laptop, and both, even especially on my laptop, it was still just as intense. Because as he's walking on the wire and you see it below, you're like, I don't want to fall, I don't want to fall, I don't want to fall.
the thing is, because it's based on a true story, a lot of people knew going in what was going to happen, but honestly, when you see this guy on the wire, you feel like you're in the present. You feel like this is real. You feel like, I don't care if it's green screen, it feels like he's on the wire. The first 2/3 of this movie are basically him planning for this walk, and then it happens. And when you see him on the wire, when you see all this hard work and all this planning that went into it, you're both cheering for him, and at the same time, you're terrified that he'll fall.
When I saw the trailer for it, I think I saw the trailer for it in front of, I don't know what movie I would have seen the trailer for, but might have been. Anyways, I thought at first that it was the story of the guy who went across the falls, and that's Nick Wallenda. So I briefly Googled the name of the movie just to make sure if it was Nick Wallenda or not, and it wasn't, and it was, Philippe. So as soon as I knew that it was, I'd actually never heard of it. So I erased all knowledge, even to this point, and it got so intense midway through the movie when he's on the wire. I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Thankfully, it was very well done. The cinematography was great, and I actually do regret missing it in theaters.
It is one of those movies, especially when you get to that last third. It's one of those movies you gotta see in theaters. And also, I noticed there was this one little joke in there that it's in the trailer, and I'm just like, they just hit it hard. Where they're when they're just arriving at the airport, and the customs are asking, "What are you here in New York for?" And it's so easy for him to just get through airport security. It's almost like they're referencing or the leading factors that led to these towers. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what happened.
Yeah. The acting in the movie is superb. Joseph Gordon-Levitt did a fantastic job in the movie. Robert Zemeckis did a great job, and the movie is intense and thrilling.
I dare say this is probably up there with Forrest Gump as one of his
I would
best
say
films.
so. In the end, The Walk is a visually thrilling and intensely told masterpiece. It boasts beautiful cinematography, flawless CGI, great acting and direction, and a captivating story. This is truly a movie to behold in theaters, but it's still intense on the smaller screen. The Twin Towers are beautifully portrayed, and actually at the end of the movie, it kind of got to me because, we know, and he was talking about how when the towers were built, he was given a pass to always go up to the observation deck, and most of those passes expired, but the guy in charge wrote
Lifetime.
And the camera kind of pans away from Philippe, and it goes towards the towers, and you realize that scene is in there specifically
show that
to show the fact that that
With-
lifetime ticket
in
was
about-
really
in about 28 years' time.
so.
But what makes this movie good is just the size of it. And it doesn't just come from the cinematography. It comes from the characters are big. The towers, my God, they're exactly like the original Twin Towers. And it's just like when James Cameron recreated the Titanic. You just feel the weight, the size of this whole movie. I think it's one of the best. I think it's going to fare good at the Oscars. And for me, this gets a solid A+.
I'm proud to say that this is one of the best and most satisfying movie experiences of 2015. Regardless of whether or not you watch it on the small screen or the big screen. It'd be really amazing to see in like the biggest IMAX theater.
Oh, I really wish I didn't get the chance to see this in IMAX, but by God, if it gets re-released in IMAX, I'd pay double to see it. But again, A+ for me. What do you give it?
A+ as well. It's probably the best movie on our list. We didn't really talk about Academy Award winners, but
But the official list doesn't come out yet. But also, there's one thing else. I love the way Robert Zemeckis directed this movie. And thinking about it, I would love it if he directed a Terry Fox biography. Like, if he put the same effort and the same approach to do a retelling of one of our national heroes, Terry Fox, I think it would be a really engaging film. Right up there with Forrest Gump and this. What do you think of that?
Forrest Gump and The Walk or something very, very, they have a very, very similar idea in the fact that the visuals are very, you know, a big part of the movie.
But visually, the Terry Fox story is a bit on a
It would be very minimal, and quite frankly, they did a Terry Fox TV movie. I forget who starred in it.
But it would be nice if someone, Zemeckis brought a story like that to the worldwide big screen, because Terry Fox, even though he's a great hero, he's really only not many Americans know a lot about him.
That, speaking from a filmmaker's perspective, that means that he's not very marketable.
Of course.
Canadian Pride, one day maybe Kevin should go make it. I don't know. If Kevin made it, I'd probably watch it, because it'll probably be just as bad as The Room.
I thought you loved The Room.
Oh, I do.
Then you'd love this.
Yeah, but I love The Room because it's bad.
So, on to our next movie. I'm sure you know which one it is.
I do. Alvin and the Chipmunks 4.
The Road Trip.
4. That's 4. You know how many of these movies I saw in theaters? 4. Once, because I wanted to. The other 3 times, because
You were forced to.
I wasn't forced to. It's kind of interesting to see how low these movies go. The camera person is the main addition to seeing these movies.
I feel sorry for the camera person on these films.
Alvin, Simon, and Theodore have come to believe that Dave is going to propose to his new girlfriend in Miami, and in doing so, he will dump them. They have 3 days to get him and stop the proposal, saving themselves not only from losing Dave, but possibly from gaining a terrible stepbrother. What did you think?
I was sitting in the movie theater at the edge of my seat when the drugs had to take hold. The only weird thing was, it wasn't on any drugs. It was Alvin and the Chipmunks, and then by far, it just got worse and worse. This movie was a rock that was tumbling down a very smooth hill. Actually, no, it wasn't very smooth. It was very... I wish I was high or drunk when I watched this movie, because it felt like this movie was a very bad drug. The effects... Alright, I'm not doing this. The effects...
Probably a good thing. You're scared.
I just thought it would be a good introduction. I watched Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas last week. So the effects, they don't look real. They even for the Chipmunks, they're just getting more annoying and more annoying. I mean, the Chipmunks were classic when they just did nostalgic songs. When they keep doing stuff like Uptown Funk and...
I have to argue there. They did like the cover of I Like Big Butts. That's not good. The Uptown Funk cover was actually pretty okay. Because they didn't always do nostalgic songs. They had a country album like when they released CDs. So it was...
Their Christmas songs are okay.
Yeah, but it was also very much like in the Muppets where they would have current celebrities come and do songs. They did Achy Breaky Heart with Billy Ray Cyrus and stuff like that. So it's not like they only do nostalgic stuff, so it makes sense.
But they seem to fit best when they do nostalgia.
I don't think so.
Well, sometimes. For me, this movie just felt like one giant waste of time. Like, I'm not gonna say the Chipmunk characters the original characters are awful. For this film, the only one I could really invest my mind in was probably Simon. And even in the original show, he was the only one I really paid attention to or cared about.
Theodore.
Yeah, you kind of look like him.
Thank you.
And if I had actual glasses, I'd probably look like Simon. Still, when we poke you do sound like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yeah, that's true. That is very, very true. Anyways, being a Alvin and the Chipmunks connoisseur, I've seen them at their best, which would be the first, and at their worst, which would be the third. This movie falls in between the first, second, and third. It wasn't as bad as the third, even though the camera person strongly disagrees. The reason why it wasn't as bad as the third, I actually don't know, because it had a lot of bad about it. Like, I can't believe, I'm impressed that it took them 4 movies to actually do a let's throw a chipmunk into some guy's crotch joke. That bothered me.
I can't believe it took them that long.
Also, they had 2 chipmunk poop jokes. That was not good. But
Only 2. I would have expected at least 9.
the first... Oh no, I guess they didn't have 2. One was a chipmunk farting joke. So, anyways. It's funny in parts. There were some legitimately funny parts. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I will say, there was probably only one moment in this film.
Oh, no. The thing that got me, I laughed really hard. Thank you, camera person. When they're about to leave the house and they replace themselves with squirrels. That was funny. The squirrels being all sleepy and sleeping on the table. It was cute. It was funny. And you knew that it was going to show up later. And at the end of the movie, when Dave's walking back, at first I forgot. Like, this is good. And then it was like,
Oh, right.
oh my god.
They're probably awake by now.
Bad jokes. Yeah, a lot of them. The chipmunk hitting the testicle joke, probably not good. Weird jokes, like when they're at Chuck E. Cheese and Alvin jumps on the table and says, look what I got, and he pulls out a stuffed version of himself and says, I like his smile, or I like his face, or whatever. It was really cute. And Jason Lee, Dave says, Alvin, you know what? That's really funny. No, it wasn't. I don't understand why it was there.
It just felt like, a lot of this movie just felt like it felt really forced. Like, oh, let's throw in this joke, let's throw in this joke, let's throw in this joke, and, oh, this'll work, and then...
Yeah, because